I'd like to call the August 15th Common Council meeting to order. It is 6:03. Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman President Frankie.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call for Treasurer Porte.
Councilman Frankie.
Here.
Councilwoman Ficus.
Present.
Councilman Vincent.
Here.
Councilman Galloway.
Here.
Councilwoman Konechny.
Present.
Councilwoman West.
Here.
Councilwoman Cutler.
Present.
All present.
Approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Before we move to petitions and comments, if we could take a moment of silence for the passing of Jackie Walorski and her staff that were with her. Tragedy. I think Jackie died doing what she loved, and that was representing her district. She worked extremely hard and really made a difference, having served with her for 4 years in the State House, and then watching her work in Congress. We lost somebody that truly loved her country and her district. And, Emma Thompson, Zach Potts, also her staffers, just a tragedy to lose those two young minds and great people. So if we could just take a moment in silence for all three. Thank you. Petitions and comments of the citizens. Brian Cager, please come forward. State your name and address for the record.
Hi, Brian Cager, 406 Easton Street. First of all, I want to thank all of you guys, and Bert as well, because he's not up here, plus everyone else that's behind for, putting forth the footwork and so forth to start turning LaPorte into a prosperous city. So that's awesome. Like, it's about time. Like, it's been time. But what started me here, like, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago now, we still have, slumlords using loopholes in our system. And the reason I want to bring that up is John Street and Monroe burnt, I don't know, 6, 8 months ago, however long ago it burnt. It's been a while. And John and Monroe is still standing. They scavenged the aluminum siding off of it right away to make money. It's sitting boarded up on a main artery of our town. So that's, I'm guessing, someone using a loophole. Someone who probably, and we know this from when we tried getting a landlord ordinance passed, that they don't carry insurance on their properties. They claim self-insured, which means they're supposed to carry, $1 million worth of insurance, blah, blah, blah. And of course, everyone was against it, but still, Monroe Street and John Street sits a burnout house now for months. Thank you.
Thank you, and Brian, just as an FYI, I couldn't agree with you more. I think the council would agree. The bid on demo for the house on Monroe, I think opens tomorrow.
1910 Monroe is
1910 opens tomorrow. The one on John Street, we're after. There's an insurance process with the homeowners that we can't step into. I'd demo it tomorrow, because I couldn't agree with you, load up. So those two are on the list, and we can't get them down fast enough, so I agree with you. Rick Ogle. Just knowing it's you, I noticed some letters here. I wasn't sure if I should take offense to it or not, but I think we're safe.
I think it's follow-up.
Oh, follow-up, okay.
Really? May I?
You may. See, I wasn't sure what that meant. I thought that was to me.
Yeah, follow.
Rick Ogle, 1902 Indiana Ave, Laporte. First, I want to say, I walked across the brickyard the other day, Friday, which is Indiana Ave to us residents. And I had not had the tree lawn reseeded, and they had done the work a few weeks ago. I walked across the street, asked them, they were putting seed and hay down and straw down, and within 2 hours, they had done mine, and I was nice about it. But I wanted to compliment them for that. Also on Friday, I went out to pick up my empty trash can. It was still full. I called Recycle Track Systems and told them what the problem was. She said she would text me or email me. She did at 1:32 on Friday. I was gone all day today. I was home all day Friday or Saturday. It's still there. I also want to make sure, so that's a complaint from me, but I also want to make sure that I do not get ticketed for not taking my garbage away after 24 hours. Isn't there an ordinance that says that? My trash is still sitting in the street waiting. I would just like to make sure that I do not get a ticket for that.
And you'll have an answer back tonight with RTS. Thank you. And just as a reminder, the trash contract is up, and a decision will be made yet this year. So we look forward to reviewing all bids and quotes. Concerned citizens of Laporte, ladies, please come forward, state your name for the record.
I still haven't gotten June or August invoice from RTS either.
Hey, thank you.
Yes, I'm Rose Canifo. I'm 82 years old, and I've been going to Salvation Army for years. All of a sudden, now we don't have meals anymore out there. The food we go out and get, last week we got 2 pieces of meat we threw right in the garbage because it was garbage. The shelves are empty, and we just need some help getting the old people back able to eat. And I thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
My name is Lori Silva, and to expand upon the Salvation Army issue, the Salvation Army used to have a flyer out saying that they had certain hours and were doing certain things, like senior meals and hot meals 4 nights a week. No longer do they do the meals at all, like she said. Recently, as of last week, and you have the piece of paper I handed you, it says they're doing it again. But when multiple people addressed them with, "Are you doing the meals again?" They go, "No," or what I was told, "Well, if you can get me the information where it came from, we will address them severely." And I'm going, I don't know where it come from. I'm not going to give up my source and get them, lambasted and tore apart. Because those people over there, at this current time, they're not nice people. They don't want to help.
We want to be careful. We want to not attack personally. You're okay.
So, anyways, the point is the people that survive maybe on 1 meal a day or 2 meals a week. It's not enough. And I know you guys don't have anything to do with that, but as a whole, something should be able to be done. And the other quick thing that I personally have an issue with is living arrangements here in our area. We were supposed to have affordable housing. That's not happening. I live on a very low income. Technically, I can only supposed to pay $441 a month for rent. Okay. How can you do that when a place asks for $940 some for a efficiency? I can't even get into something like that. That's why I'm living out of my car. But that's the way it goes, I guess. But, so, anyways, there are a lot of things that the street people feel that's really not getting addressed. And we're just worried about, what's going to happen in the future because prices are going sky high. Okay, and I mean sky high. We can't even afford to eat. The lady that was standing here only has $50 to survive on for the month. I can barely make ends meet by the end of the month to even put peanut butter and jelly sandwich together. That's it.
Lori, thank you. And as a follow-up to what we talked about last week or so, we'll check in with the Salvation. You have my word, we'll check the Salvation Army tomorrow.
Also, I don't know if you're familiar with the PAC Center, but their pantries,
Religiously.
good. Yeah, they're a good resource.
Unfortunately, we at the PAC Center were informed today that a very good-hearted man is leaving because he got another opportunity, and it's good for him. But Jason will be missed.
Yeah, he's going to be a teacher, but yeah, they'll take care of you as best as they can, and I wish you the best.
And Nate will have an option to replace Jason, and we wish him well. He provided a lot of great service to those in need, so you hang in there, okay? Standing committee reports. Council President Frankie.
The school board met on August 8th. They are feeling ahead of the national staffing shortages for teachers and only have a few open positions at this time. And they're ready to bring on the new school year. iLearn data was discussed, looking at data since 2019 to see how they performed during the pandemic. Third grade had a net increase of 1.03% for ELA, and they were 3% higher than the state average. Heilman had the highest proficiency in this from all elementary schools. And the fourth grade had a 1%, with Critchfield having the highest proficiency amongst elementary schools. The high school is implementing a more strict student ID policy for students and staff. They must be wearing them at all times. These will be used for cafeteria food and the media center. And athletics are going fully cashless, so students need to purchase a pass online in order to attend sporting events. July 29th, the groundbreaking was done for the new transportation garage. Excavation should be started in the next week or two on this property on Boyd Boulevard. And Heilman and the high school parking lots got new asphalt and striping. And the CFO is working with Baker Tilly to make sure the circuit breakers are calculated correctly, as their assessed valuation has increased significantly. And while I was listening to this, I was thinking maybe Greg Hunt and Courtney could be besties. You probably have a lot in common you can share, but that's it.
Councilwoman Ficus.
Park Board will be meeting this Wednesday, the 17th, 4 PM at the Park Office. And then also due to the Labor Day holiday, the next Traffic Commission meeting will be Tuesday, September 13th, 6 PM at the police station, so it's moved a week.
Councilman Vincent.
Nothing to add this evening.
Councilman Galloway.
The Mayor's Veterans Committee met August the 8th, and the Veterans Day speaker is supposed to be Todd Rokita, the state attorney. And we're trying to get it set up to have a meal afterwards at the VFW. And the next meeting will be September 20th. And the Police Merit Commission met on the 9th. The meeting was 10 minutes long, and I got no report.
Councilwoman Cutler.
At the Business Improvement District Board meeting this month, claims for over $93,000 for recent repairs to planters, pavers, and removal of electrical boxes were presented, and John Spiegel made a motion to request additional appropriations from City Council, and it was approved. Mofield Properties submitted a quote for snow removal costs expected this winter, and the contract was approved. And John Spiegel presented the bid budget for 2023, and this was also approved. And currently being installed in the bid district are the LaPorte County Symphony Orchestra banners celebrating their 50th anniversary. The UEA, let's see, this month's meeting of the UEA is Wednesday, August 17th at 4 PM at the LEAP offices. That's it.
Councilwoman West.
The first applicant of the hiring list for the Fire Merit Commission is proceeding through the hiring process, and all is going well, according to Chief Snyder. And Commission member Edward Gondek submitted his letter of retirement to you, Mayor, after 22 and a half years of service. And we would like to thank Ed for his service and commitment to our fire department. And the Landlord and Rental Housing Committee, led by Jeff Batchelor, met on August 4th to discuss and review the forms and answer any questions as they move forward with requiring the registration of all the rental housing units which are or will exist in our city. The purpose of this initiative is to protect the health, safety, and general welfare of our city. This initiative will come in front of the council in the near future.
Councilwoman Konechny.
The HPC will meet tomorrow, Tuesday, August 16th at 5:30 here in Council Chambers. And the Airport Authority. The LaPorte Municipal Airport had a very successful airfair 2 weekends ago with over 2,000 people in attendance over the 2 days. A special thanks to all the staff, volunteers, and the Boy Scout troop who ran the pancake breakfast for all their hard work for this amazing event. The Airport Authority's next meeting is scheduled for scheduled for Wednesday, September 14th at 5:15 at the airport.
Councilwoman West, introduction of an ordinance.
Your Honor, I move to introduce an ordinance read for the first time in its entirety.
Second.
I have a motion and a second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman West.
An ordinance establishing allowable costs in accordance with Subpart E of 2 CFR 200. Whereas the City of LaPorte is the recipient of federal grants to be used to benefit the residents of the City of LaPorte. And whereas the City of LaPorte must establish procedures for allowable costs in accordance with Subpart E of 2 CFR 200. Now therefore be it, and it is hereby ordained by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that Section 1, allowable costs for all non-federal entities are those costs consistent with the principles set out in 2 CFR 200, Subpart E, and those permitted by the grants program authorizing legislation. The city, as a federal grant recipient, is responsible for consistently presenting costs. Section 2, to be allowable under federal awards, costs must be reasonable, allocable, and necessary to the project, and they must also comply with the funding statute and agency requirements. To meet federal standards for allowability, a cost charged to an award must be allocable to the award under the provisions of the applicable cost principles, necessary and reasonable for proper and efficient performance and administrative of the grant or cooperative agreement, treated consistently as a direct or indirect cost, determined in accordance with the generally accepted accounting principles except as otherwise stipulated in the applicable cost principles, net of all applicable credits, not included as cost or used to meet the cost-sharing or matching requirements of another federal award unless specifically permitted by federal law or regulation. It must be adequately documented. authorized or not prohibited under state or local laws and regulations in conformance with limits or exclusions on types or amounts of costs as set forth in the applicable cost principles, federal laws, award terms and conditions, or other governing regulations. And it must be consistent with the city's policies, regulations, and procedures that apply to both federal awards and other activities of the recipient. End of ordinance.
And just to clarify, Clerk Treasurer Parthun, what this ordinance would do?
Isn't my job so fun? What an ordinance. So this is just, this came from our recent State Board of Accounts audit. It's something that they want us to have on file. The last bullet point kind of sums it up. Consistent with the city's policies, regulations, and procedures that apply to both federal awards and other activities of the recipient. So this ordinance will keep us in compliance for State Board of Accounts purposes. And maybe Mr. Otis wants to add anything.
As I understand it, the city was already doing these things. This just codifies
We just need
the policy.
Yep.
Bureaucracy at its best. Comments from the council? Anybody from the public that would like to speak on this ordinance?
It's a good one.
Hearing none, this will now move on to the first meeting in September, which is
Oh, you got me. 6th, I think.
Sixth?
Or the
Wow.
7th. Is there a holiday?
7th, because
Tuesday?
Labor Day would be
Labor Day,
the
so
6th, so it's going to be the 7th.
6th?
Yes.
No.
Labor Day's the 5th.
5th, okay, so it's the
So
6th,
it's the
sorry.
6th.
Yeah, Tuesday.
You like to correct me, so I'll.
I stand corrected.
Councilwoman Ficus.
Your Honor, I move to introduce a resolution read for the first and only time in its entirety.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Ficus.
Resolution authorizing electronic funds transfer. Whereas Indiana Code, Section 36-1-3, and the following, known as Home Rule, permits any unit in the state of Indiana to exercise any power or to perform any function necessary to the public interest in the context of its governmental or internal affairs, which is not prohibited by the Constitution of the United States or the state of Indiana, or denied or preempted by any other law, or it is not expressly granted by any other law to another governmental entity. Whereas the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, is the city legislative and fiscal body and is by law authorized to adopt ordinances and resolutions governing the administration of city fiscal matters. Whereas the Common Council of the City of LaPorte has determined that it is reasonable and appropriate to establish a resolution authorizing the use of electronic funds transfer for official city business of the City of LaPorte to adopt internal procedures and controls governing such use. Now therefore be it ordered, established, resolved, and ordained pursuant to the provisions of Indiana Code, Section 36-1-8-11.5 by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana as follows. 1. Electronic fund transfers. The City of LaPorte is hereby authorized to use electronic fund transfers for official business of the City of LaPorte for the following transactions. A. Federal tax payments. B. State tax payments. C. Indiana Public Retirement Service payments. D. Payroll deduction payments. E. State Board of Accounts audit payments. F. Bond payments. G. Health insurance claims. H. Check orders for bank account. I. Special event wire transfers at the discretion of Clerk Treasurer. 2. Authority of Clerk Treasurer. The City Clerk Treasurer is hereby authorized and responsible for A. Selecting the financial institution or institutions to be used by the City of LaPorte, Indiana for electronic fund transfers. B. Executing the application and agreement with the selected financial institution or institutions for the City of LaPorte, Indiana. C. Overseeing the use of electronic fund transfers for official city business of the City of LaPorte, Indiana. D. Maintaining the agreement and the relationship between the City of LaPorte, Indiana and the financial institutions. E. Establishing appropriate security procedures for passwords, codes, controls, and other authorizations to protect and preserve the funds and assets of the City of LaPorte, Indiana. F. Reviewing all transactions and confirmation in connection with the use of electronic funds transfers for property authorization, documentation, itemization, and purpose. 3. Administration of payments. The city clerk treasurer shall not draw a warrant for an electronic fund transfer unless, A, there is a fully itemized invoice or bill for each expense, B, each invoice or bill is approved by the city employee or representative receiving the goods or services, C, the invoice or bill is filed with the city clerk treasurer, D, the city clerk treasurer audits and certifies before payment that the invoice or bill is true and correct, and E, payment of the invoice or bill is allowed by the Laporte Common Council on the accounts payable register. All electronic fund transfers must be for official business of the city of Laporte, Indiana, and shall not be personal in nature. 4, electronic fund transfers. Electronic fund transfers shall include automated clearinghouse payments, ACH, wire transfers, direct deposit, online banking transaction, telephone transfers, and other electronically authorized or implemented transfers or payments. Notwithstanding the provisions of this resolution, the city shall comply with all other requirements regarding the payment of claims by a political subdivision. This resolution shall be in full force and effective upon passage and shall remain in full force and effective until revoked or modified by the City Council of Laporte, Indiana. End of resolution.
Thank you. Clerk Treasurer Parthun, would you like to simplify this for us?
Yeah, so there are very, very specific reasons that we use electronic funds transfers at the City of Laporte. We line itemed them out for you. It's not a common practice, but we do have to have a resolution in place according to State Board of Accounts for electronic funds transfers, so.
This resolution can pass this evening. Are there any questions from the council?
Motion to pass.
Second.
Before we, if we could hold that for one moment, is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on this? Anybody from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
You do.
In a second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 7-0. Councilman Vincent.
Honorable Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to introduce a resolution to transfer funds within the 2022 budget.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilman Vincent.
Resolution to transfer funds within the 2022 budget. Whereas there are additional monies needed in certain line items in the 2022 budget in order to pay for essential services and obligations. Now therefore, be it, and it is hereby resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that the following transfers be made within the following budgets for the year 2022. Motor Vehicle Highway Fund, 2201-524, from 111 salaries to 131 other personal service, $2,000. Local Roads and Streets, 2202-524, from 231.012 winter operations to 231.1015 operating supplies, $30,000. From 231.012 winter operations to 290 other maintenance and repairs, $33,000. Also from 231.012 winter operations to 361 other maintenance repairs, $30,000. End of resolution.
So this is a resolution that could pass this evening. First, are there any questions, council? Courtney,
Yeah,
or Treasurer Parthun?
Just cleaning up appropriations. It's budget time, so we're just cleaning up some appropriations.
With 93,000 from winter operations, is that,
Things are costing more, and the street department's got old equipment and vehicles, so they're costly repairs, and everything, as everyone knows, everything has been, gas is going up, fuel is going up, NIPSCO is going up, so cleaning up some line items there.
that won't leave us short on salt, will it?
No, we have a, this is encumbered funds from last year. We'll be okay.
Okay.
We'll be fine.
And we are monitoring the gas. It is starting to come down, but, police department, other departments, we want to make sure that they're staying out and not parking cars. We want them to
I
have to
shouldn't say
come
this
out.
is encumbered funds. We encumber funds every year for salt from the previous year, so we're in good shape. We're in okay shape.
Questions from the public? From the public, any questions? Council members, any other questions, comments? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Very efficient this evening. We appreciate it. We'll be going over to the American Legion tonight to discuss the Patton Cemetery. You've heard us talk about, there's probably 900 veterans that are buried in Patton Cemetery. And the funding, we've been so fortunate in the city of LaPorte to have Scott Harris, as you've heard, take and maintain the Patton Cemetery. But again, the funds have run out. It's not a city property, but we believe we need to be proactive at looking at future opportunities of how to fund maintenance, which takes about $22,000 or more a year. And those families, those individuals buried there deserve to have an appropriate grounds. So we're going to see what the American Legion Auxiliary Group can support. VFW, thank you, Roger, for leading the charge there, and VFW is on board as well.
Great.
Thank you. Number 2, Hamburger in Paradise, the opening.
Cheeseburger.
Or cheese, oh, I'm sorry. I don't like cheese on my hamburger, so Cheeseburger in Paradise this Friday. It's a free event. Downtown should be hopping again. And I heard Jimmy Buffett music. Is that correct?
Yeah, hence the
Tribute band.
cheeseburger part.
I'm a hard rocker. I don't get into Jimmy Buffett, sorry. So please, I think it'll start around 6 o'clock on Friday. Come down, enjoy some other great times on a Friday evening in LaPorte. Other comments? Before I look at Roger. Do I have a motion?
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned, everybody. Thank you for coming, and have a great night.
Jess Britter would